Views and opinions of any of the guests of After Hours AM are not necessarily the views and opinions of After Hours AM, its hosts, its staff, or any of its affiliates.
Welcome to the After Hours program.
Are you ready?
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Now broadcasting live from the After Hours AM studio, Joel Sturgis and Eric Olsen.
And we had a devil child. Devil child got glowing eyes. A boy that hated that well. Devil child got soul to mine. My baby had a devil child. She got horns on her head and a head on fire. Demon see the night through the wish of his eye. A dead child of guns, blood, a favorite drink. A charge to the devil's card.
And welcome to this edition of After Hours AM. It is a beautiful evening right here in the great state of Minnesota. I'm really enjoying this. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis, right along with me,
Eric Olsen.
Hey man, Eric, we got some great guests tonight, and I'm really excited. Again, we're having Nick on, we're having Elizabeth on, and get this,
Bill
I
Hartley.
didn't know Bill was coming tonight. So that is a big surprise for all of us. He's such a animated guy, and I love talking with him. And so we're having the cast on tonight, and that'll be a lot of fun. And, of course, last time was a rollicking time last time. And I'm
It was
expecting
rollicking
to say it was
indeed.
rollicking
And how about the
fun.
show? Isn't that ripping?
It
I mean,
is.
talk about activity.
Oh yeah, really? I mean, it's just it's floating everywhere. They're becoming their own X-Files as we go here.
I mean, we're talking hardcore, really active, dark spirits everywhere and protecting spirits. And how about the EVPs?
I know.
Holy mackerel.
It's really, we saw, well, the first two episodes are available, if you haven't already seen them, on the Destination America website. So you can kind of have a mini binge on Shepherdstown by watching the first two episodes. And they're pretty good. They're pretty good, and of course, we're going to have to talk with them, and I would like to, and I know they're good, kind-hearted people. There's some headlines out there I'd like to talk about as well, and you know what I'm talking about. Where I'm going to that. The recent headlines of Shepherdstown.
Yes.
I would
indeed.
like them to clear the air, because Nick has always been beyond reproach, in my opinion. Always above board, always honest, so... he's a good friend of ours, and he's a good friend of the show, so I'd like him to maybe possibly speak on that very issue if he's willing to.
Certainly. If it's news, it's news.
Exactly.
Excellent opportunity, great forum to say what's up and put it to rest.
Yep.
Or whatever the case may be.
Whatever. But it will be fun. It will always be fun because, of course... Getting ready for the show, that everyone said that already to me, asking me, well, you going to ask him? Ask him on air? I don't know what I'm going to ask him. I never know until I know where the conversation takes us. And if it goes wherever, it goes wherever sometimes. And you just enjoy the conversation for what it is. We don't come in here with questions. Oddly enough, I have no questions in front of me when I do a radio show, simply because I find that so limiting. It limits me in my own thought because I looked out the questions going, okay, well, we didn't go here or here or here. It really kind of stifles my own creativity. So that's why I don't do that anyway.
It also flies in the face of our kind of general philosophy that the the show, or I should say the interviews,
Sure.
are a conversation. They're not they're not a Q&A. They're a conversation.
Exactly. So anyhow, we're going to be having them at the top of the hour. But until then, we got news of the weird kind of headlines. And there's a bunch of them out there this week. And the first one's really odd. It kind of struck me as odd. Did you hear that Terry Irwin, the wife of the late crocodile hunter himself, what was his name again? Oh my God, I'm at a loss. What was his name? The crocodile hunter. Steve Irwin, sorry. Steve Irwin's wife has turned to psychic medium John Edward in a desperate attempt to connect with her late husband, Steve. There it is in the sentence. I should have known. The wildlife warrior regularly speaks of the deep bond she shared with her late husband, calling him the love of her life, Terry says. I know. Oh, I mean, really, I feel bad for her. He was so young when he died.
Oh, it's terrible.
It was horrible.
Such a fluke thing.
It really was. Who knew stingrays could kill you? According to Women's Day, Terry asked John Edward for a reading during his 10-day visit to Down Under last week. That's my feeble attempt at Australian accent. It's understood John, who has been friends with the Irwins for many years, it says here, made sure he flew to Queensland to visit Terry despite his busy schedule. I haven't heard much from John Edward lately. I'm not sure how busy he actually is, but that's neither here nor there. It's not the first time Terry has called upon an internationally renowned medium to help her to connect with Steve in 2008, just 2 years after he was killed in the stingray piercing in the chest incident that we all remember. Steve's dad, Bob, and Terry held a private session with John in which he revealed he had no doubt Steve was with us. So he's still with them. I guess love never truly dies now, does it? I
think first of all, it's hard to believe it's been 11 years.
It really has been. It's been a long time since
that's number one. Number two,
away.
Obviously, she has had a really hard time getting over it.
Well, evidently, really, if he truly was, and I'm going to take her at face value, was the love of her life, do you ever really get over it?
I would think not. No.
Do you ever really kind of get past? I don't think you would either.
I mean, you got to figure out a way at least to move on with your life. That doesn't mean you're over it. That doesn't mean it's okay. That doesn't mean you don't miss them. But I don't think you do have to try to figure out how to live your own life. You can't live in the past.
Exactly. And Edwards goes on to say, it's not black, it's not white, it's not gray, but there's a definite Steve energy that's unmistakable. Not long after Terry admitted she can feel and sense Steve around her. Wow, it keeps on going. She reached out to, again, John Edward to reaffirm her belief that Steve is still with her in spirit. So they would have been, now get this, she said the reading comes as Terry celebrated, still celebrating this, by the way, her 25th wedding anniversary to Steve, even though he has departed. To mark the occasion, she uploaded a picture to Instagram with the caption, "Today would have been our 25th wedding anniversary. I miss you so much, and I'm grateful every day for the time that we had together."
Wow. Well, sounds like she's hanging on.
Man, sounds like something from Titanic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. That's,
it
was such a tragic thing. It was so bizarre. And, like you said, he was young. And I was just...
Yeah.
I get it. And having just lost someone, it's hard. But on the other hand, and it's not the same thing to lose your father who's 84 to suddenly lose a husband to a young husband to a tragic accident. I get it. I believe it. But I don't know. I think you do kind of, hey, you don't want to keep him hanging around. Let him move on and do his thing.
Let him do his thing. Maybe he's got stuff to do. Maybe he's saving animals in the hereafter or something.
Exactly. Don't force him to stick around because he's worried about you.
Yeah, exactly. So that's an interesting story. John Edward, we haven't seen him at all in many years in the public spotlight, have we?
I haven't heard much about him. I mean, I'll get it once in a while. You see like a press release about him doing a tour. I think he does a lot of stuff live.
Yeah.
And I think he still does quite well that way. I don't know. I don't think he has any TV show going right now, does he?
I don't think so. I used to dig that show, though, Crossing Over with John Edward.
Yeah.
I used to like
a lot
watching
older
that.
all of a sudden.
Yeah,
I
he
noticed.
does, doesn't he? Well, it's been, 8-9 years since that was on the air, if not longer. So it's been quite a while. So
Time flies.
yeah, I'm going to reach out to John Edward and see if he'll come back on the show. We had him on in the early days of After Hours AM.
Very
so
cool.
we will see if he will come back on live and talk maybe about everything psychic. That would be pretty cool. So we got another one that's kind of a weird story. Again, I mean, obviously these are all weird because otherwise it won't be odd news. But ghosts lurk in this Florida antique shop with whisperers that whispers, get this, your name.
Ooh, I like that.
When asked about Reddick, Florida, many locals will be the first to tell you that it's a wonderful place to live, filled with numerous shops and antique shops, emporiums, events, sunshine, and everything that Florida has to offer. But this one's a little bit different. This shop is haunted, and this shop has a grisly past. Okay, back in those days in 1986, the Branham family, they owned this, and they actually had it as an antique shop. So I'm going to go through this little tale of disgustingness right now. In July 1986, two men came to the store called the store called Wayside Antiques back then, and brutally robbed and murdered Mr. and Mrs. Branham, the shop owners. The crime scene analysis showed one of the couple had to watch their companion be executed before being killed themselves.
Good God.
Oh, my Lord. It sounds like something on The Walking Dead when Negan had people all lined up, but only real, and that's what makes it worse.
Way worse.
The story remains open, but, the store rather remains open, but it's now called Antique Emporium. Since the brutal murders, many store employees and local antique enthusiasts alike have expressed unusual happenings and paranormal activity in the store. They've expressed that they've had themselves touched and their names being called. One former employee, Anne, had an experience that she will never forget. Anne says it like this: I was going ahead and I was in the store by myself, just hanging out. No, I'm kidding. I won't cheapen this. Never mind. For some reason, I wanted to do Southern voice there for a second. I knew about the murder, she said, before I accepted the job, Anne said. I mean, everyone in Reddick knows what happened. I mean, it's not like it's a secret. It was a bit spooky, she said, to work at a place where something so horrific had happened. But, it was a great opportunity, and it was definitely turned out to be the opportunity of a lifetime. I had been at the shop for maybe 2 months. I was the newest staff member, so when they needed someone to cover the closing shifts, which often did happen, I felt like it was my duty to take up the slack and basically close for the people. Usually a manager was with me, but he had to go home and take care of his sick child from time to time. He offered to call someone in for me, but I felt like, I got this, not a problem. I'm paraphrasing, of course. I got this, not a problem. I can definitely do this on my own. Anyway, she goes on to say that she just got done ringing up the last customer for the day. She closed out the register and started to sweep the floor in preparations to close the store. I remember thinking I heard someone call my name as I worked. I stopped and listened, but I didn't hear anything upon further listening. But as soon as I started sweeping again, I heard it, my name being called. She says, I won't lie, it frightened me. And she says, I tried to tell myself that there were ghosts there, that there were no ghosts there, but I could not deny it anymore. I only can think it's Mr. and Mrs. Branham, and that they had been good people, and maybe they are still trying to reach out to the employees and love the store. They have never tried to harm anyone, but they have done their fair share of scaring people. Their favorite trick in the store is to call customer and worker names. Could you imagine that, Eric? You're in this little shop, looking at the newest, item that was scavenged from the, wherever, and you hear, Eric. I mean, wouldn't you run? I'd be like, what the hell?
I would have like this dislocation. Wait a minute. Am I in an antique shop or a haunted attraction?
Yeah. And then she says, she goes on to keep on going, and she says, we keep upcoming items back in the back until they're ready to be sold, she explains. As I looked around when I was in the back room, I was distracted by the beautiful antique wedding dress that had just come in. It was very, very pretty, ornate, lots of lace and detail. Suddenly, all of a sudden, the lights went out. The only light, I know, insert creepy music here. The only light that remained seemed to come from the lamp on the other side of the dress. Wow, behind the dress on the other side of it. And the hands, get this, and hands started to appear from inside the fabric.
Oh, my Lord.
As if they were blindly searching for me.
Wow.
She said, biting her lower lip in terror as she told this tale. As I stood in horror watching them, a voice inside my head told me that they were the victims of the violent crime, making a place where innocent people had lost their lives.
Sounds like Ghosts of Shepherdstown.
Yeah, I know. It was equal part terrifying and heartbreaking. She goes on to say, I haven't been back to a Reddick in quite a while, but I will never forget my time at the antique store. Wow. Look at that.
I'm telling you.
Creepy stuff.
It's a weird world out there, isn't it?
It really is. It's an odd world, and that seems like a very traumatic time. Obviously, you have two people executed, and one had to watch the other one die. I mean, that's just ridiculous. That's just cruel.
Lots
and unusual.
of negative energy there. A lot of emotion.
My Lord, it really would be just chock full, I would imagine, of negative energy. And the lady watching this all unfold in front of her, I would have gone something like this. Oh my God! And I would have ran for the door, squealing the whole way. I really would have. I went. There would have been a urine trail as I ran too. I don't want to undersell that.
Yeah, it's important. You gotta mention that.
Gotta mention that.
We're honest. It's an important physical phenomenon.
Ah, yes.
Oops, I peed myself.
Exactly.
And as a result, the floor.
Hey, you know what? There's got to be a trail. At least, if someone wants to go back and look at it, at least have a trail to follow. Just saying, it's not as good as breadcrumbs, but it does stay.
Good point. You kind of stain the floor, and anyone who wanted to follow you could.
That is true. That's very, very true.
Using tracking devices, tracking skills gained from Native Americans.
They would need is a black light, and they could see that urine. Go right. Years later, they could hit a black light. Oh, that's the trail right there, guys.
They could, take a tracking class out in the desert and learn Native American skills and whatnot. Yes.
Well, whatever you want, whatever, Eric.
Whatever it takes.
Never bring a black light to a hotel room as long as we're talking about things with black light.
Lord
don't
Almighty.
do that. I've done that. Don't do that. Just don't do that. Just ignorance is bliss.
Me, I get it.
Just don't do
that.
Look,
I don't want to see how they make sausage.
Exactly.
And I don't want to see what's in the black light in the hotel.
It's pretty funny that when you talk about hotel rooms, black lights, and whatever may be left behind from the former occupants. And Grand Prairie, Texas, Texas coffee company is recalling one of its roasts because, it's making men have erections.
What?
Yep, according to this.
It's some sexy roast, huh?
Yeah, Best Herb Coffee, LLC, issued a voluntary recall for its new of Kopi wonton traditional natural herb coffee from the U.S. Food. I know, say that 10 times fast. U.S. Food and Drug Administration found it contained it contained a certain chemical. It's called a desmethyl carbonethyl. If I can never pronounce those long, weird additive names, which is similar side effects or effects to Viagra.
Wanana.
Yeah, so if you're if you got a limp soldier there, pick him up with a little cup of coffee. Best herbs.
Let's see if I can tackle the drugs. I've never heard of that. It's desmethyl carbodenafil.
Exactly. There it is. I murdered it, but you did it just perfect. Yeah. But anyhow, that is the drug. That is the drug that's raising everyone's attention, so to speak. Best herbs.
Good one.
Which is based in Dallas, suburb of Grand Prairie, sold the copy nationwide from July 2014 to June 2016 on various websites and in some retail stores. Wow. Albert Yee, who identified himself.
How did this happen? I mean, do they know about
I'm trying to get there.
And B, do they put it in on purpose?
Exactly. That's what I'm looking for. It says Albert Yee, who identified himself as the product importer, said he did not know much about the product, but did a recall, after it started, so everything stopped, of course. Some customers were buying it to help them in the bedroom, he says.
Nice.
But FDA spokesman Lindsay Meyer said it is not clear if this product worked like Viagra. No injuries have been reported to FDA, says the spokesperson. So I guess that's a good thing. So if you drink your cup of coffee every morning, you just might be getting lucky.
If you have an erection of lasting more than 4 hours,
yeah. Do you like pina coladas?
Or your coffee company?
Do you like pina coladas? Coffee that gives you a hard on in the brain. No, sorry. Sorry. Wow. I'm dirty. Fail. I'm horrible. I know.
I like that.
Yeah, it was horrible. Okay, moving on from Ghosts That Call Names, Psychics, talking Terry Irwin, and boner-causing coffee. We're going to go on over here to a little bit stranger story yet.
Boner brew.
It gets stranger.
I've heard of this one.
Corpus Christi, Texas. A Texas man who became trapped inside of an ATM slipped notes to customers via the receipt slot, pleading, let me get rid of this darn tootin'. I'm really getting sick of autoplay, man. I am getting sick of it. Okay, let me get back on track here. He was slipping notes to customers basically he was trapped. The contractor became stuck Wednesday when he was changing a lock to the Bank of America room that led to the back of the ATM. So, I mean, there's a room within a room. Corpus Christi Police Lieutenant Chris Hooper said he couldn't let himself out of the room because he didn't have the key card on him and was unable to notify the bank employees for help. Apparently, he left his cell phone and the swipe card he needed to get out of the room outside in his truck. When he realized customers were retrieving cash from the machine, he passed notes to them to the ATM slot. One reading, "Please help, I'm stuck. I'm stuck in here. I don't have my phone or anything."
I got to tell you, though, the vision I had was the guy all folded up inside that little teeny box.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, too, when I was
that would have been way cooler.
That would have been way cooler, but there he is, slipping notes, and he probably went on to say, but, yeah, "I'm just a little man in the box. Help me." Some customers appeared to dismiss the notes as a gag, Hooper said. But one called the police, who detected a faint voice coming from inside the ATM. "Help me. Help me." It must have went something like that. "Help me. I'm stuck. Help me."
Oh, my God.
So officers kicked in the door to the room and freed the man, whose name has not been released. I know. Would you want your name released if you're the ATM guy? Everyone knows okay, but you will never see this in your life again. This somebody was stuck in the ATM. Talk about once in a lifetime happening. Come on. Really.
That is funny. But it would have been way funnier if he had somehow gotten squished in that little box.
Hey, did you know?
And as the coins were,
it would have been hilarious if you would have, if you would have had to, count it. This is how ATMs work, really, kids. Don't get this job.
I can't talk.
Getting sucked into his
Yeah,
mouth.
exactly.
Yeah, or how about this? The bills coming out his mouth.
Man, you have all sorts of good, side narratives for this, don't you? You know, what could have happened? What would be funnier than being stuck in a room? Can you imagine if he could look through that little glass that's over the ATM and see people and go, help me? And all you see was two eyes popping up. That would have been cooler. Anyhow, did you know that today marks 48 years since the first moon landing?
I did not
knew
pick
that.
How did I miss that?
Yeah, when the Saturn rocket carrying Apollo 11 and its crew took off from the Kennedy Space
did
Center
I
on
miss
July
that?
16th, 1969, the whole world, and this is posted today, of course, a story, so it's kind of weird that it'd be July 16th. Well, anyhow, okay, I see. It took them 4 days to get there. All right, they watched with bated breath as three men took to the heavens on the most daring mission ever undertaken.
Got it.
A mere 4 days later, Neil Armstrong emerged from the lunar lander, descending the ladder and onto the outside of the spacecraft, which he was the first ever to do this. First ever guy to ever be outside of the spacecraft, a walk.
Oh, there hadn't been a spacewalk before either.
According to this, no. According to this, he was the first ever. I find that hard to believe. How the hell would they test it? Well, I suppose they could test it.
Maybe it's written a little bit, vaguely.
It kind of is.
Imprecisely. I'm guessing there have been spacewalks.
They had to have been. There had to have been. He got off, landed on the lunar soil, and of course uttered the immortal words of one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Have I ever told you that I went to college with Neil Armstrong's son?
No, you never told me that. What was his name?
Rick Armstrong. If you're listening, Rick, get a hold of me. Yeah, I always thought he was a super cool guy. He was a bass player. We used to jam together. He loved prog rock.
I was going to say, I bet you loved David Bowie's Space Odyssey.
Well, it's Oddity, and no, he was really prog rock, man.
Is it really Oddity?
Nothing for him.
Is it really Oddity or is it Odyssey?
Oh, it's Oddity.
Let me check that.
Space.
I believe you, but
obviously it's a play on. It is a takeoff on the film.
Okay. It says here, Wikipedia says it is known both ways as Space Odyssey and Space Oddity. Space Oddity came originally in 1969.
Yes.
But Odyssey happened years later as a faux pas by the record label on the back of that time, the vinyl record.
How funny. I did not know about that.
So that is why you hear people say both to this day, Space Oddity or Space Odyssey.
I did
so
not know
I didn't
that.
know that until I just looked up Wikipedia, and they're never wrong. Wikipedia.
Very
right?
nice. Never. Hardly.
Never wrong. Never.
Usually
ever.
Not long term. They're not.
No. But that was the excuse, really quick, because it popped right up there, of why the Oddity and Odyssey are really confused a lot of times.
Got it.
Due to
Did not know
one
that.
guy putting together the record jacket that had a typo.
Screwed it up.
Screwed it all up, and here we are today going, what is it, Oddity or Odyssey? What the hell? So there you go. You know what? He's still impacting lives today. Go, little man, you go.
Amazing.
So that is amazing. Now, do you remember the moon landing?
I do. Oh, yes.
Okay. See, I was not around yet. I'll be honest. I wish I would have been. It happened about 5 or 6 years. I was born in 1974. So it was a little bit, I was still glimmering the milkman's eye at that point.
I was 10.
Okay. So you were there. I mean, not there, but you're watching on television, I'm sure of it.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It was astonishing.
So cool.
I was in 6th grade. I remember it very well.
I bet you that's so cool. You know.
It was mind-boggling because, remember, it had only been, 5, 6, 7 years before. I'm trying to think. When did Kennedy make his speech saying, we are going to land on the moon?
62?
Maybe so. And, think about it. I mean, my goodness, it's only 7 years later. We can't do anything in 7 years. We got planned flights out 30 years from now.
True. The thing of it is, though, is we went to the moon and nowhere else.
Nowhere yet.
Nowhere yet else. So we will see as things progress. Hey, we got to run a break. When we come back, your America's Most Haunted Headlines. Fire up the Twitter. Go there right now during the break, and you too could follow us over there at America's Most Haunted over there at Twitter. Be right back. Hey, you listen to After Hours AM, and if you're listening to us via podcast, make sure you like us, follow us, review us, tell your friends about us, tell grandma about us, and keep listening.
This is Jen McGowan, founder of Wayward Souls Promotions, a company dedicated to helping individuals, teens, radio shows, and others that are seeking exposure for their individual events, conventions, and shows. We offer a wide variety of advertising, such as web-based article, social media posts, podcast advertisement, and so on. Contact us at paranormalpromotion@gmail.com, visit us on Facebook at Wayward Souls Promotions, and visit our website at www.waywardsoulspromotions.com.
Hi, Tom Bodette. If pop culture is to be believed, roughly 40% of all people are actually vampires, or dating one. Well, undead or not, you can always save on a clean, comfortable room at Motel 6, even if you sleep during the day because direct sunlight turns you into a pile of sparkly coffee grounds. Speaking of which, we have free coffee every morning. You day sleepers may want to go for the decaf. I'm Tom Bodette, and we'll leave the light on for you. Book online at motel6.com.
Author Steve Asher brings us Hauntings of Trilogy. Steve's first book, Hauntings of the Kentucky State Penitentiary. This first installment of the trilogy tells us the tale of the Kentucky State Penitentiary and why it's so haunted. With every turn of the page will be something new and terrifying. Pick up Steve's new book, Hauntings of the Kentucky State Penitentiary, at Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and all better bookstores everywhere. You're listening to After Hours AM. Do you have a question for the guests or even the host? That's really easy. Go ahead and email those questions to afterhoursam@gmail.com. Are you feeling like picking up the phone and being part of the show? Call us at 612-326-6874, 612-326-6874. Come be part of the madness. Yes, welcome back to America's Most Haunted Radio with After Hours AM. Let me start that all over again. Welcome back to After Hours AM and America's Most Haunted Headlines. There we go. I had a brain fart. You want to know why? Because I heard elliptical. And that, guys, is, of course, Eric, the co-host over here, Olsen's.
And Mike Crooker.
Yes, that's your music. And so I got caught up in the jam there for a second. Going, yeah, this isn't too bad. I got to play this a little bit more. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, crap, we got to go live. So anyway, we're back. And we are back. It's now time for America's Most Haunted Headlines, as brought to you by America's Most Haunted. And, of course, you can go to america's-most-haunted.com. Or even better, right now at this moment, go to twitter.com, search out AM Haunted. It doesn't even matter if you're a member or not. Just follow along with us. We'd love it if you became a follower. Just saying.
I could not have said it better. And I was reminded a couple times, it's weird how these things just kind of all happen at once, that I should mention that we are also available, or I am available, or America's Most Haunted is available on Facebook.
We are one group,
that is
too.
That. America's Most Haunted on Facebook.
And then we've conjoined basically as well, so you can get the After Hours AM and America's Most Haunted Radio, After Hours AM, America's Most Haunted, the group over there. Come be part of it. We have a lot of fun. We post a lot of the headlines that you heard tonight over there as well.
We do. And so the Twitter feed, the Facebook, even the Pinterest under America's Most Haunted. It's all things paranormal, spooky, and amaze-mo, my friends.
So quick
Alrighty
programming.
then. So let's check
yeah.
it out.
Quick-
Big news.
yeah.
Big
news.
TV news. You ready?
Yep, I am ready.
We have a return date announced for The Walking Dead.
Oh, really? The Walking Boar, I mean, The Walking Dead is coming back. Oh, right, because, I was a little mad at The Walking Dead because they had no resolution at all at the end of that season. Rise up. Hell, I rose up all right and walked away.
It was not resolved. No, it's kind of the beginning. It's the beginning of the war. I think we're going to see a lot of warring going down. I think we're going to see a lot of action in season 8, which comes back October 22nd.
Well, that's good, because I thought I'd have to buy that Texas coffee for some entertainment or something.
Well, sounds like that might be a good idea no matter what else you have
Exactly.
going on.
Why not?
I mean, what's there to lose? Nothing. So it's a pretty cool, promo picture. We got the poster now, and so squared off, staring at each other from the left and right sides are Rick and Negan, and then we got all the huge armies behind them from all the different organizations and all the different plantations and the good guys and the bad guys and the in-between guys, the guys we don't really know about what the heck they are anymore, like Eugene, rat bastard.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? You get, and I'm included right there with you, you get invested in these people is the problem. That's why everyone gets so angry when no resolution happens, because you feel like there's no resolution in life.
I know.
And
we do have to give them credit for that, because, that's not easy to build. That's not easy. That's not an easy feeling to create in people. And the shows that do that, it doesn't matter what kind of show they are. Doesn't matter. Comedy, drama, fantasy, sci-fi, horror. It does not matter. Yeah. If you become invested in the characters, those are the shows that last. And those are the ones that people go nuts. If something goes wrong or if it's taken off the air.
Crazy go nuts. And speaking of on the air, I've been watching American Ripper as well.
Ooh, boy, that was violent. That second
one.
It
really was.
Oh my God, we were watching it in bed, and it was late at night, and it was like, oh my God, I'm going to have terrible nightmares. That is graphic.
Yeah, it really was. I'm watching it.
I mean, wow. It's like watching surgery. Literally, it's like watching surgery.
And of course, that's our bud Jeff Mudgett. That was on recently on the Wednesday True Crime Show. Hey, if you're new to America's Most Haunted, After Hours AM, if you're new to this whole universe, right? We have 3 shows now. We have
not one, not 2, but 3.
But 3. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Tuesday, of course, Deeper Cuts, where we dive deeper into the stories behind the first interview. And then, of course, Wednesdays is True Crime with our secret super agent weapon, Dr. Clarissa Cole. And she is our only practicing forensic psychologist on any radio show I'm aware of, unless there's one that I'm not aware of.
I'm in agreement.
Then, of course, there's the flagship show, which you're listening to right now, which is just plain old After Hours AM, America's Most Haunted Radio.
That's the ship.
There it is.
It's coming into port.
I prefer to think of us more of the Love Boat.
Oh, well, or Fantasy Island.
But not Gilligan's Island. No.
Yeah, because there weren't enough listeners.
No, exactly.
So are you ready for more TV?
Yeah, I am, sir.
Oh, my God, I find this bizarre. I watched like half of one episode because I was forced to.
You were forced to?
Well, it's a girl show, let's face it.
Of what? What
Girls.
show?
Did you ever watch Girls?
Oh, no,
on
I
HBO?
never watched Girls on HBO.
All right, well, the writer, producer, star, everything, creator, Lena Dunham is coming to American Horror Story.
Oh, really? That'll be interesting.
Season 7.
Oh, okay. I wonder who she'll end up playing in this whole, basically, a satirical season. Mirroring
something about the election.
Yeah, mirroring, cannot talk, but showing us the flip side of the 2016 elections, basically.
I don't know who she's going to be, but she's going to be on it. She and her many tattoos.
I see that. She is a tattoo-laden lady.
She is. Alrighty then. Okay. For a while there, when it was kind of new and groovy, I was really into cosplay.
Yeah.
School and everything. Now it's old news.
I always thought it weird. I always thought it was weird anyway.
Well, I mean, sure, it's weird. But it can be very inventive and creative and even sexy.
It can be, and I enjoyed that first few. Like the first season was kind of cool because it was totally new, and now it's kind of like everywhere cosplay.
Oh yeah.
You know.
So anyway, I don't talk about it a whole lot anymore. But since we are coming up on Comic-Con 2017.
Very cool
weekend. This is it, and the cosplayers have already arrived. So we got some pictures of some cool cosplayers, kind of funny and or cool.
Yeah. Have you ever wanted to go do
out.
Have you ever wanted to go do the cosplay there, Eric? Have you ever wanted to dress up like that?
Not really.
No, me neither.
I mean, I like costume. I love costume. I love being in costume. But cosplay is kind of a specific kind of costuming. It's you're basing it on a character either from the comics,
gotcha,
or or from TV or from film. Usually it's sci-fi or fantasy or horror.
Yeah.
And so I mean, there may be some crossover there, but there's no character that I can picture really wanting to emulate that closely. Plus, to do it well, to be good at it, you got to really put a lot of time and effort into it.
Whoever can do that, and God bless them, I just look at it and go, wow, you have a lot of time in your hands, don't you?
Exactly. I mean, there are a handful of people who I guess make money from it because they enter these contests, and then if you win, it's like anything else. If you're in the top 0.1%, you can make a little money at it, I guess. Get a little notoriety. There's some people whose names you may know, or I can't think of it at the moment, but from cosplay. But I'm probably too old as well. Let's face it.
Well, yeah, as am I. But anyhow, the next story I'm actually kind of pumped for.
Really excited.
I am. The Twilight Zone stamp, man.
Well, the story's not about the stamp, but the stamp is a cool picture.
Oh, okay. You had me all excited like they're releasing
it. The
stamp
came out. Let me see. No, the stamp is out. It's real. The stamp came out in, it's been a while. I'm clicking through very quickly.
It's probably been like 30 years, and I'm that out of the loop.
No, 2009.
Okay, so I kind of am on the loop then on my old stamp collecting. I used to collect stamps, then discover girls.
Yeah,
wow,
exactly.
Those are way more impressive than stamps.
I'm about that same time frame, but I quit even sooner than that.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, that is way more impressive than a stamp. Let me tell you.
It's just,
wow.
I mean, any hobby is cool. Anything you learn about and get into, anything that floats your boat, man, I'm for it. But stamps, I don't know. That seems a little.
It's a little weird. I'm not weird,
anyway,
but a little tedious.
The actual story is, and like I said, the stamp's just a picture. The Twilight Zone TV show is being adapted into a stage play for the London Theatre.
Really? Very cool. Very cool stuff.
Live for the first time ever.
Well, that will be very cool. No Rod Serling, though, going, imagine a man stuck in a radio booth.
No, sadly, no.
Oh, okay.
And we learned the whole tale of Rod, which was fascinating.
Yeah,
and
we did.
What an amazing guy he was.
Yeah, very, very cool. Oh, and of course, we got the next one just down, of course, is our good buds are coming on the show. Nick, we got Elizabeth, we got Bill, Shepherdstown coming at you, top of next hour. Don't go anywhere. You're going to hang on for that one.
We are down to, 17 minutes to go, so very excited. Yeah, and boy, the first 2 episodes this season, they are smoking.
Is it just me, or does that sheriff guy resemble a troll? Shouldn't he be guarding a bridge somewhere?
Maybe so. His name is Sheriff King.
Yeah, he's a troll. He just came into town one day.
He may be. He's not a large law enforcement officer, but that doesn't mean anything.
No. But it's his ears that give it away. They're pointed.
Well, maybe a little. He seems like a cool guy. And think about it. For a law enforcement officer to have the nerve to call in paranormal investigators?
True. Very true.
That takes some cojones.
That does take some cojones.
Hats off to you. Not that a hat is covering my cojones or anything.
Well, no. You didn't have the coffee either, so you're good to go.
It'd be a silly place to put a hat.
It really would be. I've heard about doing
the
that.
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Well, that is true. I thought they were partial to socks. The Red Hot Chili Peppers.
But hats too.
Yeah, I would try the gym sock thing, but let's just be honest. It ain't happening.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. It's kind of hard to fill a gym sock.
Yeah, it is.
You'd have to go to like the baby section or something. Can I have baby's gym socks,
Can I get
please?
the smallest socks you have?
Sir, why? Do you have a young child? No, I'm going to perform in a Red Hot Chili Peppers cover band.
Yeah, called the sock band.
All right, look at this next picture. Is that the weirdest thing you have seen?
I have seen. What the hell is that?
That is. What are those things littering the beaches of France?
I have no idea. They look like blonde Pomeranians.
Or really big and oddly shaped sponges.
Oh, okay. That was giving me my second guess.
Or tribbles.
Oh, Trouble the Tribbles, man. It all comes full circle back to TV.
Speaking of the original Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it's none of those things.
Oh, okay.
It's actually rather depressing what it really is.
Are they dying?
What they really are. No, they were never alive.
Oh, so they're going to become in someone's bathtub by nightfall.
What they are, which I never, ever in a million years would have guessed, is... There's hundreds of thousands of them that have washed up on French beaches.
Why? Why are there all these sponges? I mean, was there a sale of lupas somewhere?
They're not sponges. You know what they are?
What are they?
Paraffin wax.
That's wax?
It is wax.
What the hell? Does that naturally occur? Wax? Is that a natural thing like that?
No, it clearly fell off a ship.
Oh. See, now you had me all like, really? Paraffin wax?
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. I see. You know what's littering? All right, it's littering.
It really is. It's gross
It
and
is
weird
disgusting.
and strange.
Especially when you think of it where sponges, where those might have been.
And tribbles.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what they are. Mystery is solved, but that's an odd picture. So again, if you're not looking at twitter.com/amhaunted, you can't see the pictures and you can't follow the links and you can't like us and you can't follow us and you can't jump up and down, wave your arms.
Yeah,
well, I guess you could do that, but it would be the same thing.
Come be part of it. So I see now there's going to be an exorcist thing going on here.
Oh, yeah. Before we do that, though, there is a brand new, just came out yesterday. We got the first trailer.
Oh, Stranger Things. Yeah.
Season 2 of Stranger Things.
Yeah, very cool. I cannot wait to see that. That's coming this October, of course. You can check it out, watch it, love it, be a part of it.
Cool trailer, too. They're saying absolutely next season's going to be scarier, weirder, spookier, much more horror-oriented than the first season.
Does it get any scarier than Winona Ryder? Does it really?
Well,
maybe. If I were on set, I'd be like, hey, Winona, you didn't shoplift those lights, did you?
Yeah,
okay.
she'll
Just making
say,
sure.
That's old news. Old news. All right, so then what you mentioned before, yes, there's a cool, it's pretty funny, it's clever enough. Short film, it's only, 5 minutes, so it's not a lot of your time. Check it out. It's a parody of The Exorcist, and it comes from Crypt TV.
Really?
And it's called The Exorcism.
I'll have to take a peek at that one later on.
Check it out. Let me know what you think. It's only, like I say, 5 minutes long. Not all that much to lose.
Yeah, just 5 minutes of your life. That's all we're asking.
It's clever. All right, so have you ever read it's one of the real, top, 10 classic all-time ghost novels, and that is Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of House Hill. Have you ever read that?
No, actually, I've never read that. I should have by now, but I have not done that. I remember The Haunting of Hill House.
Right.
Or Hell House or whatever it was. Vincent Price.
Yeah, there have been 2 movies. There have been 2 movies made based on the book.
Yeah,
and,
House on Haunted Hill. That's what I'm trying to spit out there.
Right.
Yep.
Yes. So this is the first time it's actually called the exact same name as the book. It's The Haunting of Hill House. And it's not a film. It's going to be a series on Netflix, and it will be starring Carla. I never knew how to I've seen her name so many times I don't know how to pronounce it. It's either Gugino or something like that. Gugino. Seen her in a million things.
Gugino.
All the way back Gugino. All the way back to, I remember her in that Pauly Shore movie when she had to have been about a teenager. where he gets married and they're on the farm. She's
Oh,
the farm
yeah,
girl.
son-in-law. I don't know why I know
that.
that.
Was actually one of the
but-
funnier Pauly Shore movies.
Yeah, Pauly Shore, man. Oh, he was either really good or just horrible. There was no in between.
Not much in between. I would
No,
agree.
no.
That one was pretty good.
Yeah, that one wasn't
and
too
so
bad.
Carla was the wife. She was quite young back then, of course.
Sure.
And
Still
she
smoking
looked,
hot.
Still looked smoking hot. No doubt about it. She was in Wayward Pines.
Hey, man, I drink the coffee for her. Don't worry.
Oh, God. Okay. All right. So, speaking of the films, just to clarify, based on the novel. So the first one was 1963's The Haunting, and it's considered really directed by Robert Wise. It's a classic.
It is.
And the second one was it was terrible. That 1999 Jan de Bont film, and it actually was called The Haunting of Hill House, and it was awful.
It was bad. It was bad. Then there was House on Haunted Hill somewhere.
Yeah.
That was a modern day film as well, and that wasn't any much better, to be honest with you. You know.
Right. All right. So we got time for we got a few more here. All right. A lot of media announcements. I guess it's that time of year because we're deep in the middle of summer now, so we're starting to talk about the fall.
Sure.
Are you a fan of Guillermo del Toro? Do you like him as a filmmaker?
Yeah, that's a good name right there. I'm glad I did not have to pronounce that, but I have watched a few of his films. I think he did Pan's Labyrinth, didn't he? Isn't that what his big one was? And that was, of course, reading the novel, the whole movie.
And
wow.
Hellboy.
Yeah. It wasn't bad films, unless you're into reading, of course, and Pan's Labyrinth was in subtitles.
Spanish, right, you're right.
Yeah, so it was a little bit of I watched it for about 20 minutes. I'm like, screw this. Well, I'll pick up a book.
Wow.
So anyhow,
that was bold of you.
that really was.
No, that was a great movie. Actually.
Yeah, it was.
Very
It was.
sad and weird. But anyway, he's made a bunch of other ones too. He just made the Crimson.
Peak?
What's the Crimson Peak.
Yeah,
that was his. That was okay.
That
It had some good moments. I ended up not.
I wasted money on that movie in the theater. Okay, and I also wasted money on Pan's Labyrinth because I kidnapped an interpreter, brought her to my house, and said, "Now I want you to tell me every word they say." And then, of course, that's why I was off there for a while.
That didn't work. Yeah, I got it. All right. Well, anyway, he has a new film. I believe this is a character.
It is
from a
Pan.
previous.
Yeah.
Isn't he from Hellboy?
He is. He's that Aqua dude. I forget what his name actually was.
He gets his own movie, and it's Doug Jones again,
Well,
same
good.
actor. He uses him over and over again. How many people do you know are 6'4", 150 pounds?
Very few, unless they're Ethiopian.
Very few.
You know what I mean? You
that's
see
Doug
him on
Jones.
TV with Sally Struthers. Only, you come on over and you give me money. I think she ate the Ethiopians. That's why you don't see him anymore.
Maybe so.
I think that's what happened.
Anyway, new film, Guillermo del Toro, and it's called The Shape of Water, and it's about a love story between this creature that Doug Jones plays, again, it would appear, and a mute woman who works at the facility where he has been imprisoned.
Oh, yeah, because wasn't he part of the superhero? This must be a prequel to Hellboy.
Maybe it is.
Because he was out and about and helping the forces of good with Hellboy and da-da-da-da.
Right.
And this has got to be a prequel then. It should be cool, though.
It should be. If nothing else, it will be interesting. Are you a fan of really total gross out movies?
Sometimes. It all depends on the mood I'm in. It kind of all depends on, I used to love the George Romero films. Especially disemboweling scenes, the zombies ripping them all apart. Yeah, so sometimes I do enjoy it, but it looks like that there is according to the picture here, there's a green laser coming out. Looks like a sphincter.
It very much looks like a sphincter. Well, listen to this description of the film. All right, there's this guy. He's been a music producer who works under the name Flying Lotus, and he has made his debut film, which is spelled Kuso. I don't know if it's pronounced Kuso. Whatever the case may be, it's Kuso. Yeah. It's his debut film.
Okay.
It is filled with autoeroticism, talking boils.
Wow.
George Clinton ass bugs. And then it gets weird.
Oh, then it gets weird. It takes a left turn into Weirdsville after that.
From there. It gets weird from there. So Rolling Stone is calling it the absolute apex of gross out midnight movie type films of the entire 2000s.
I don't know if I could bring myself to watch this.
I'm pretty sure I could.
Don't know if I can lower my IQ low enough to enjoy it and not go, oh my God, this is horrible. But
I mean, there's gross out and there's gross out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then the 12-year-old would be in the back of my room and back of the head in the room that sits there going, hey, this is great. This is great. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I imagine my 13-year-old would as well.
Yeah.
I think that was quite something. All right, we got time for just one or two more here. We haven't done really any much cool science yet, so great article. And they're looking at yet another new study, and they're now looking into the possibility that you may actually be able to crash into a black hole. In other words, that its surface is hard.
Again, the copy. Yeah, but seriously, it's on a serious note.
Instead of being sucked into it, in other words.
Exactly.
You would crash into its surface.
Yes.
Even more parallels to the coffee, but I'm not going to
I know. I'm biting my lip over here, trying not to let my inner, again, 12-year-old step up and talk. This is absolutely astonishing that you could actually crash into a black hole.
In other words, that it may have a hard surface.
Yeah, it may. It may have a hard surface, and it may
this
be...
study that argues that they think it does. I think most astronomers are still saying no. It's a much more porous kind of thing. You would be sucked in gradually. You wouldn't even necessarily know you were in it until it was too late.
I know that feeling.
And then you can't get out. With or without the coffee.
Hey, man, I sat through The Happening, so I know how that feels.
You can't get out. There's no escape. All right, here's yet another in an endless line of prequels, sequels, and
another Leatherface. We already did a new Leatherface recently. A few years ago, we're told his origin tale.
Well, we're getting it again. This one is called Flat Out Leatherface.
Yeah.
And the tagline is "Witness the beginning of your end."
Yeah. I mean, I'm
origin story of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Do we really need an origin story of Leatherface again? I mean, they kind of did it all in the original, not the original, but the sequels, the earlier sequels, where we had Texas Chainsaw Massacre, then we had Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning.
Right.
I mean, they show him being born in the whole bit. I don't know how much more origin story you get than that.
I guess this would be called a reboot, perhaps.
Or another reboot. Oh, my God, reboot. You know what? Learn from Ghostbusters and their reboot, huh? Just think
Although
about
that was better than a lot of people said. I actually ended up liking it pretty well. I thought it was kind of funny. With the women, with the girls, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But see, then again, I was always a huge fan of the original.
Well, I am too. Both of them.
Yeah, I loved them both. And, of course, when I see, I don't want to call an abortion on film, but it was not that awesome.
All right, so you didn't like it that much. I liked it okay. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was pretty funny. It wasn't as, look, it's not the same thing. No. It's just a variation on the theme.
I know.
And is it as good? No, but it wasn't as bad as a lot of people said.
I know the critics.
In my mind,
I hear you. The critics lambasted it for being sacrilege. I get that, but
it did. All right, and then really quick, I just want to mention right now my two favorite shows on television. Because they're both really... No, it's not on right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about what's on the air right now.
All right.
Are Preacher Season 2,
okay,
which is so much better than Season 1.
Yes.
It's literally like a new show.
It really is. It's good.
It's amazing.
Better.
It's really great. I'm totally absorbed into Preacher Season 2. Check it out. If you watched at some point Season 1 and said, whatever, check it out again. And the other one is... the reboot or season 3 or however you want to look at it of Twin Peaks, which is about as psychedelic as a series gets. They are both very impressionistic, very psychedelic, really weird, but excellent.
Yeah, well, you know what? They are weird, and they're good. They're all good, especially that Preacher. I've been watching it as well. It's very, very good. And I like it. In the first season, I was like, I could take or leave it. But this one is much better. It really is. Because I used to read the comics, because it was actually a comic. Before it was a show, and I was big on the comics because it was actually really well done back then. And I
guess the comics super violent, right?
Super, like uber violent, and it's the kind that your mother will find under your mattress.
Yeah,
she'll go right past the Playboys and not care, but she'll see Preacher and go, "Oh my God, what are you reading?
Not that.
You can watch that."
So this season is more violent as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little more violent, a little more this, a little more that. But hey, man, it's already creeped up on us. We have to go to the Fox News. We come back as promised. Shepherdstown, man. We're talking Nick Groff. We're talking Elizabeth Saint. We even got Bill coming on. Bill, man, I was so happy to hear Bill was coming on. I love Bill. He was so much fun. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this.
O.J. ticketed for freedom. I'm Jack Callahan, Fox News. O.J. Simpson will be a free man, possibly in a matter of weeks. A Nevada parole board voting to release him from prison, where he's been locked up for nearly 9 years for armed robbery in Las Vegas.
It's now up to officials in Florida to okay O.J. Simpson's plan to head there after he gets out of prison. Supervision and his family support system will be crucial. Some of his children live in Florida. During the hearing, Simpson was asked what he would do upon release.
Right now, I'm at a point in my life where all I want to do is spend time with as much time as I can with my children and my friends, and I'm not looking to be involved with the media.
The earliest day he could get out is October 1st.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. A new Fox News poll finds most Americans believe military action will be needed to put the brakes on North Korea's nuclear ambition. Fox's Gernal Scott live with details.
Jack, 55% of voters tell Fox News it will take military force to end North Korea's nuclear weapons program. And no matter which demographic you look at, men, women, Democrats, Republicans, voters young and old, at least 6 in 10 say war with the North Koreans is a legitimate concern. With that looming, more voters say they disapprove of the handling of North Korea by the Trump administration, 45 to 41%. Still, healthcare, the economy, and concerns about America's future far outweigh North Korea here at home. Jack.
Thanks, Gernal. The White House says President Trump has telephoned Senator John McCain with get well wishes. McCain diagnosed with a malignant brain tumor, tweeting today that unfortunately for his congressional sparring partners, he'll be back in Washington soon. Wall Street, a big day for Sears. Its shares up more than 10%. On news that it will sell its Kenmore appliances on Amazon and link its smart appliances with the Alexa digital assistant. Fox News, fair and balanced. The White House insisting that President Trump still has confidence in his Attorney General Jeff Sessions, even though the president ignored reporters' questions about that today. And despite critical comments from the boss in a New York Times interview, the Attorney General says he's staying.
We love this job, we love this department, and I plan to continue to do so as long as that is appropriate.
President's nominee to be the next FBI director passes his first confirmation test.
Mr. Chairman, the votes are 20 yeas, no nays.
The unanimous vote reports Mr. Ray to the floor for Senate action.
Christopher Wray's nomination approved by the Senate's Judiciary Committee makes approval by the full Senate seem likely. But the future of the health care bill in the Senate still unclear.
Republican senators say they're still not sure what they'll be voting on early next week.
I have no idea whether it's going to be yet another version of the Senate bill.
Or, Maine Republican Susan Collins says, a measure that would repeal the Affordable Care Act without a replacement. A revised Senate health care plan would increase the number of uninsured Americans by 22 million in 10 years, according to a new Congressional Budget Office estimate. But that bill already faces too much Republican opposition to advance. On Capitol Hill, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Another rock musician has apparently taken his own life.
I tried so hard and got so far.
Lincoln Park singer Chester Bennington found dead at his home in Los Angeles. He was 41 years old. Bennington was good friends with Soundgarden frontman Chris Cornell, who hanged himself 2 months ago. Late word from Spain, forensic experts have opened Salvador Dali's coffin to take DNA samples. The artist's body exhumed to settle a paternity lawsuit. Salvador Dali died in 1989. I'm Jack Callahan, Fox News Radio.
And welcome back to After Hours AM, everybody. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis. Right along with me,
Eric Olsen.
And Eric, man, we have just a blockbuster show on tap tonight, so I will let you explain.
It's a rip snorter.
We are. It's a barn burner.
Ah! Yes, it certainly is. Paranormal legend Nick Groff, tech guru Bill Hartley, and paranormal sensitive Elizabeth Saint, return for season 2 of Ghosts of Shepherdstown, following new leads to neighboring towns in an attempt to identify the wild paranormal activity in the area, with 8 all-new episodes Monday nights at 10, 9 Central on Destination America. In the first season of Ghosts of Shepherdstown, a surge of 9/11 calls reporting supernatural activity in Shepherdstown inspired Police Chief Michael King, who is not a troll, despite what Joel says, to call in the big paranormal guns to figure out why the town had become such a hotbed for hauntings. Nick, Bill, and Elizabeth, with the help of local historian Dana Mitchell and psychic medium, and boy, she does a good job, Lorie Johnson, uncovered clues linking the rash of mysterious incidents to Shepherdstown historic waterways, etc., etc. Season 1 wrapped with a ceremony on the Potomac River to cleanse the town of its witch's curse, which seemed to settle the ghostly activity. But then Chief King began hearing from his colleagues in neighboring jurisdictions that the mysterious happenings had spread to the nearby towns, suggesting that Shepherdstown is only one piece to a much larger puzzle. In the first episode, which was a ripper, by the way, my friends, really got into that. That was something. They explore the John Brown Wax Museum, which is creepy as a screaming mofo in Harper's Ferry, West Virginia. We will get into episode 2 when we bring in the world-famous Nick, Bill, and Elizabeth. Welcome to the program. So happy to have you guys on.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, good evening, guys. Yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on. Of course, we always enjoy having you guys on the show, and we did this about the same time last year.
Yeah, about a year ago.
For the original.
It was in June. It was a little bit earlier.
Yeah, it was June.
For the original Shepherdstown, which turned out to be a blockbuster, of course, like we had any doubt going into it. I mean, what a awesome concept. And as you guys are filming and we're watching it unfold, it has a different feel this go around, doesn't it, guys?
Oh, absolutely. I think this time around, it was really fascinating because we thought we were done, honestly, when we were in Shepherdstown last year. But it was interesting how things just escalated, and here we are again. But it's really cool how it's bringing us to different areas that we never thought would be happening. So I think that's the most interesting part right now is we're all over the place, different towns.
Yeah, they really called you in as reinforcements. I mean, they got a hold of Shepherdstown and talked to the sheriff and said, we need them over here now because we have this going on. You know, do you chase them all out of town, and they moved to other towns?
Yeah, and plus I love running around in Bill's ambo right there. It's always fun.
Never know what happens in the back of the beast.
What happens in the beast stays in the beast, right?
The belly of the beast.
The belly of the beast. You know, because I watched the first two, of course, like Eric had alluded to. You could watch the first 2 over there on Destination America right now. So after the show, go have a mini Gorge Fest in the first 2 episodes. And they're really, really interesting and kind of almost, in a lot of ways, in my opinion, a little darker than the first go-around, some of the stories.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the stories in general. I mean, you're talking back to the Civil War. The Civil War was just a bloody battle in general. So I mean, obviously it's going to be much darker because that's kind of what we're tackling, those different areas, especially the Wax Museum and John Brown raid and everything that occurred there. So we're getting into some really deep stories that had a lot of tragedy in the past and the history that just kind of landmark these areas. And a lot of bloodshed. It was just layers and layers. So it's kind of hard to unveil this puzzle piece. Like, we're really trying to connect the dots here with what's happening and why. But it's fascinating because, you know, the three of us, we're always trying to rule out different causes. So it's not just going in and just saying, okay, everything's paranormal and these things are paranormal. I mean, we're actually ruling out a lot of stuff at the same time. So a lot of the stuff that we could actually kind of, you know, what people are claiming to be paranormal, we're claiming to be some environmental elements or just things that people don't fully understand. But there's a lot of other things that are just paranormal that we can't explain, that we are capturing, like that shadow figure that was captured on the thermal camera that Elizabeth set up in the basement of the John Brown Wax Museum. That was amazing, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
Really cool capture. And it was cool because it was so quick. And Bill, I think you saw it first, right? And radioed us.
Yeah.
So it was pretty amazing.
It was such a quick flash. I mean, I was actually talking to the other guys that were in the beast, and I was explaining to them how that the thermal, you could tell, kept dropping in, you know, a degree here and there, and you could actually see it physically almost like pulsating on the screen, and that's when this black figure was just there and then gone.
Wow.
I mean, we...
Go ahead. Sorry about that.
We really had to slow down. No, you're fine. We really had to slow down the footage a lot, like frame by frame, to see like the full essence of what that figure was, too.
Yeah, I can only imagine when I watched it on the show, and you guys were as surprised as anyone capturing it. Did it take you all a little aback? Like, whoa, that was really strange, even stranger than normal.
Yeah,
it did
absolutely.
for me, and it just because it was such a quick flash, and it took away just for that quick second. That whole corner of that screen was completely black, and I've never seen a thermal hit like that before. And unfortunately, at the time, we were being all recorded on the FLIR, so they actually had to go back down into the basement of the John Brown Museum and review it there, because it wasn't plugged into the DVR system in the Beast itself. And I was really, really surprised by it. And then when Elizabeth slowed it down and we played it back later on and watched it, I mean, you could literally see that it was a figure. It wasn't just some sort of quick flash, like maybe like some sort of a glitch in the camera.
Yeah, it was interesting because it was almost like it came across the camera, but then it came back a second time, and that's when it paused right in front where we saw the figure.
Yeah, I'm looking
like
at kind of now.
Us out.
Yeah, I kind of had a video queued up to watch that. And do those full-size figurines in that the Brown house were lack of a better term, were they kind of weird to work around? Were they a little creepy having full-size figurines?
Yeah.
I mean, it would have creeped me right out.
Yeah, it was creepy. That whole building is just bizarre in general. Like, when you walk around there, especially by yourself, it's so, I don't know, that your equilibrium is off. You know, some of the floors aren't level, obviously, when you walk through. It's very old, very dark, and just kind of weird. You get this weird feeling that just kind of overtakes you at times as you walk through, and it's very jarring. So walking around and then having wax figures on top of that kind of stare you down in the darkness, just it's a little strange.
And the one that was
with like
breathing,
real dentures in the hair.
Yeah, right.
Part.
And then they had the breathing one.
The chest rising.
I know,
and
right?
Yeah.
I know, they got me good on that one.
It's like, why would you have this? Yeah, why would you have this in the museum?
Like, it's creepy enough as it is, the fact that you feel like someone's always watching you, and then you have one of them that's actually breathing and moving, but you don't tell people. They're going to think that they're insane. I was like, ooh, I don't think I've ever had a reaction like that to anything in my life.
Yeah, well, the lady,
so
the person that was taking you around, she wasn't exactly forthcoming right away. She let you guys get kind of freaked out by it for a second. I think she had a weird pleasure in that. Like, oh, look at these. Oh, they're scared. We're going to let them be scared there for a minute. And then she's like, no, that's us.
Well, I guess when you're around wax figures all day, you kind of have to mess with the living a little bit, right?
You gotta. You have to.
I wonder how much she talks to them when she's alone with them.
Can you imagine? Yeah, it'd be like a Hitchcock movie. Just waiting.
Yeah.
Just staring and waiting.
Oh, God.
I know the old Madame Tussauds. I'd read somewhere that her philosophy was she never really wanted them to look. She didn't want to cross the uncanny valley. She wanted there to be something about them that let you know they weren't quite real, because she knew that it was really potentially creepy. And the more real something looks, I mean, if you can't find anything, if you can't find any clues that tell you, then it can really, really creep you out. I have a question that's kind of off in a different direction. It's just popping into my mind because I'm kind of I'm just evaluating. I'm trying to process these first two episodes, and they're the only ones that I've seen so far of this season. And what seems to be happening, and the way the last season ended too, for that matter, is you guys seem to be kind of have bought into or you are accepting of the notion that these spirits can be aided in moving on, and that seems to be a real specialty of Lorie. And I know in the past that's been somewhat controversial in terms of it's not maybe necessary. Some people will say it's not necessarily our place, or that's not our job, and so on and so forth, that paranormal investigation is about gaining information, doing the research, gathering materials, but not necessarily then, I guess you would say acting upon it. Any thoughts on that? Does that involve any changes in any of your philosophy, or would you guys, any of you, have been okay with that at any point in your careers?
I think that that's why we bring Lorie in for those, and you'll see that throughout the season too, because she's comfortable performing those kind of cleansings and things like that. In episode 2, it was unique because we brought out Melody and Reed from the local Native American tribe, and they were able to conduct that death ceremony in honor of the woman that we were contacting at the home. And that kind of, I loved that aspect of it because it applied to our case, and it was bringing other people in that specialize in that sort of thing. And I think that, you're right. As investigators, like, our job is to go in and investigate and try and figure out what's going on at the location. But I think that's why ultimately Lorie is such an asset. Not only does she give us a different perspective on the case, but also she's able to do a lot of things that we're not, exactly comfortable with all the time.
Sure. Well, you guys are dealing with, especially in the first couple episodes, and especially the Brown case, you're dealing with a not so pretty part of American history. And so when you show up, and there's quite the story behind the massacre, but when you're going through it and you're walking these same steps as these historical figures, do you ever get that tingle up and down your spine, like maybe, in some strange way they're with you and on that walk?
I've had that feeling a number of times, but I did start out as a Civil War reenactor before I got into the paranormal field. So places like Gettysburg or the John Brown Museum or Harper's Ferry itself were not strangers to me. But I've always had that feeling that when I've gone to certain events, different places where we've reenacted, where it felt like not only am I walking in the steps of history, but it's walking next to me at times.
Yeah, that's interesting, Bill, because I've always wondered with reenactors, and I'm glad you brought that up. Is there ever a melding between the paranormal when you're doing the reenacting where maybe there's a soldier that you don't recognize with you? I mean, that you catch a glimpse of, strangeness?
It's actually funny you say something like that because I actually a lot of times talk about this one event that happened in Unger, West Virginia, which is not very far from Harper's Ferry and from Shepherdstown itself, where I actually considered that being the changing point where I go from Civil War reenacting into being a paranormal investigator, because we literally had so much activity happening around us while we were there that it really started changing how I saw things, and it kind of got me into this track of where I want to research more about the paranormal and what happens after we pass on and things like that. And we were actually in the back of this field, and mind you, it was like about 9, 10 o'clock at night. It was pitch black, and we were doing, because they had actually brought out these paranormal investigators who were filming us, and they thought it'd be great to have us go in the backfield and put on like a little bit of a mock skirmish, firing off our rifles and stuff like that to try to, I guess, quote-unquote, rouse the spirits that were there. And while we were there was the guy who was the company commander for 5th Virginia Company K, who I originally served under when I was a reenactor, named Robert Ambrose. And he was doing the whole firing by numbers thing, you know, doing the commands and everything else. And at one point, he actually stopped and said, "Excuse me," like he was about to bump into somebody. And then he just sort of sat there with this blank look on his face for a second. And he's like, "Tell me you guys saw that guy." And we're like, "Who?" And like the guy, the officer that was right next to me, I almost bumped into him. I'm like, no, there was nobody there. So it does happen.
That is a creepy story, because I've heard about a lot of people on the internet, of course. You know, you read these stories about reenactors at Gettysburg or whatever battlefield it could may or may not be. Like you become the trigger object. You yourself do, and they come and almost, you know, fight, I guess, for lack of better term, side by side, right next to you. I've heard a lot of stories about, you know, wow, there's this weird soldier with us, and no one knows who he is, but then he just disappears after BSing with us for a little while. Really strange stuff like that.
And the funny thing is, too, is that somebody was taking pictures of all of us, and that one picture was these few ladies who were in period outfits standing in this dark field, looking at, staring in their digital camera. So obviously we were keeping it, totally correct for the time frame. And whoever took the picture when they captured it had the two women in the frame, and behind them there was what looked like a Confederate cavalry officer standing behind them. Now, mind you, none of us were cavalry, and nobody was there in a cavalry uniform, but you could tell the uniform. And when you really looked at the face, you could tell that the face was very skinny and almost skeletal in the way it looked.
Oh, man. That would have been super cool to see.
You'll
and
see it
scary.
eventually. It's going to be, I've been working on a book for the last couple of years, and whenever it eventually comes out, that picture is going to be included, because I like to tell the story of everything that happened at that event, because that literally is the catalyst that put me on the path of where I'm at now.
Yeah, because I've met other reenactors, and my family originates from the Dakotas. In fact, Sturgis, South Dakota, that's my great-great-grandfather founded that city. And I used to go out there, and quite a bit more than I do now, and see these reenactments. And it was always funny because the person that played my grandfather never quite looked like my grandfather. Until one time, boy, did he ever look like my grandfather. And then he disappeared. It was so weird. It was so weird. It was very, very odd. So that's why I dig the historical, just the reenacting, because I truly believe that you become the trigger object. You become that moment in time. They merge together.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, I like I said, my last question, really, I'm trying to kind of wrap my head around this, and I'm finding this series in general, and last year too, this continuation of it, to have something more there. There's another, at least one more, maybe more layer than a lot of shows, the most shows out there. What seems to be the direction that we're heading in, and please just give me your thoughts or tell me you can't talk about it or whatever, but what seems to be going on in this general area, and the reason that I'm picking up anyway, that this whole area is so wildly haunted, and it just seems to be just hopping with activity, is some combination of events of the Civil War, all the death, all those battlefields, everything that's going on around that area involving the Civil War, A, and then B, all this flowing water, all these rivers that are interconnecting these towns. Is the big picture here some combination of those two things? Does that make sense? Or am I missing something? Or can you not tell me, because we're going to find out at the end?
I think that, we kind of started off with our theories that we had from last year that the Potomac River was somehow involved. And the first few cases that we start with, that theory kind of still holds true. But we literally dig a lot deeper this season, and we start exploring different explanations as to why there's like all of this activity and why is it happening right now. And not only in Shepherdstown, but the surrounding towns. And we do find that there's a connection along the way, which I will not talk about.
Well, yeah, otherwise it ruins it all. See, Eric almost tripped you up. He was trying to get you to give away the goods there for a second.
Fishing. It's called fishing. I was fishing.
He was fishing. He was fishing. But
it was good bait.
It was good bait. Now, Shepherdstown, it would seem proper. Shepherdstown itself is no longer the hotbed it had become. Do you have any theory that you can disclose, other than the river, why it would go, or were these hauntings already there now just because of things have died down in Shepherdstown, they're more prevalent?
I think it's like anything. If you think in outside the box, sometimes we want to claim stuff so quickly and just say, okay, that's the ghost from the Civil War, right?
Yeah.
Somebody who died and fought here, which could possibly be a continuation of energy or lingering energy or residual or whatnot. But if you think really deep, like we've been thinking, or I have just in general for the last years of doing this, sometimes it's stuff beyond what we can comprehend as human beings, or we haven't adapted enough to understand how this world in general works. Once we start looking at like different dimensions and layers and how things just are so complex. And especially how our environment is changing all the time. So, like, you could get a scientist and sit down and say, okay, the environment's changing because of X, Y, and Z, and here we are, and these things are occurring because of these elements from, the way the core or the moon or whatever sits.
Yeah.
And then you get into all that jazz, which gets really technical. But then you can get into stuff that's just could be, the battles, the people that fought and died for their country and the people that fought for their families and just all that energy and tragedy. And then you have another layer on top of that through generations of people who died and through families and whatnot and diseases and epidemics and so on and so forth. So you have a lot of just different theories to play off of. We started realizing it could be multiple different things. A lot of things were occurring too that we started realizing that we could connect different locations and towns together, but a lot of things actually we documented that some stuff just wasn't shown in the episodes too. We had a lot of stuff happen, a ton of stuff happened that just couldn't make it to airtime. The 43 minutes in the episode that actually airs. So, there's just a lot of evidence, a lot of stuff that kind of just doesn't make sense. That can't play tribute to like the bigger picture of what's happening. In the end result of, Ghosts of Shepherdstown Season 2, but a lot of other stuff really fascinates me and because of this. And I think as a researcher and an investigator for all these years, that's where my mind is at. Okay. How can we determine what these things are at the end of the day? Because truly, we don't know exactly who we're speaking to on that other side that we claim to be either ghosts as we define it or something else. And I think that something else is scarier sometimes than actually understanding and saying it's a ghost,
I know exactly what you're saying. I think that you're hitting the nail around the head. Is we're all unsure truly who we're communicating with. And until we're on the other side one day and find out exactly how it works, the ins and outs, we're all still left that same burning question. The hows, what's, whys, and wheres. I mean, why is it happening here, and how is it going on, and what's going on? Basically, all those strange questions we all have because, we're all going to end up taking that trip one day. And, we just want a little glimpse today of what's truly behind the veil.
But I think we're, as we evolve and technology evolves, I think we're getting closer to some questions being answered. I don't think we'll have all the answers, but I think we're getting closer to that other side. And it gets scary once you start skating on that fine, thin ice of crossing over, because, in Shepherdstown, Ghost of Shepherdstown, this season, you're going to see it escalates really quickly, and it gets pretty scary at times with what happens to us. And it gets really bizarre towards the end of one of our cases. I can't wait for people to kind of see the veil.
I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's definitely escalating. We're going to run a break. When we come back, we're talking Shepherdstown, Ghosts of Shepherdstown with Bill Hartley, Miss Elizabeth Saint, and Nick Groff. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this. Hey, you listen to After Hours AM, and if you're listening to us via podcast, make sure you like us, follow us, review us, tell your friends about us, tell grandma about us, and keep listening.
Taking a family of 5 to the amusement park can cost a small fortune.
Oh, yeah. So to save some money, we thought, hey, let's bring the amusement park to us. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right, step right up, young man. Are you ready to ride the wacky waterfall?
That's just the bathtub with the shower head running.
Nope, it's the wacky waterfall.
It's the shower, Dad.
Waterfall.
Wacky.
There's an easier way to save. To get a free rate quote, go to geico.com. Then buy online, over the phone, or at your local Geico office.
This is Jen McGowan, founder of Wayward Souls Promotions, a company dedicated to helping individuals, teens, radio shows, and others that are seeking exposure for their individual events, conventions, and shows. We offer a wide variety of advertising, such as web-based article, social media posts, podcast advertisement, and so on. Contact us at paranormalpromotion@gmail.com, visit us on Facebook at Wayward Souls Promotions, and visit our website at www.waywardsoulspromotions.com.
Hi, I'm Kip Parker.
And I'm Charlie Parker.
And we're the Parker Brothers. Hey, Charlie, what's missing from our game catalog?
I don't know, Kip. Tell me.
Well, you can't talk to the dead.
You sure as hell can.
That's why we got this brand new game called Ouija.
Ouija? Why? Break that down for me.
Well, it's Wii because you're having a great time. And G, it's because G, aren't you having a blast because you're having a good time with the Wii.
It looks like it spelled like a Chinaman got caught in there.
Don't question it.
Well, Ouija, Kip, tell me about it.
Well, inside the package comes a flat board with all the letters of the alphabet, numbers from 0 to 9, and a yes-no written out by itself.
Well, that sounds like a lot of stuff going on.
It's got a lot of stuff going on indeed, Charlie. It also comes with this planchette which hovers over the letters the dead are trying to tell you.
Well, how does that work, Chip?
Well, you ask the question, and then the dead move your hands in the direction of the answers.
That sounds like a heck of a way to find Grandpa's slave money.
Turns out it was in the attic. But the questions don't have to be as serious as slavery. You can also find out if Sally's got a crush on you. The dead like to answer all sorts of trivial questions.
Feels like they'd have better things to do with their time, Kip.
No, lost souls are lost forever, and they're really glad to help.
Well, gee, Kip, can't you just get any sort of board with numbers and letters and talk to the dead?
The dead prefer quality like anybody else. Quality you can only find at Parker & Parker.
The Ouija board, brought to you by the Parker Brothers, available in both white and colored wallworks. Separate but equal savings.
You're listening to After Hours AM. Do you have a question for the guest or even the host? That's really easy. Go ahead and email those questions to afterhoursam@gmail.com. Are you feeling like picking up the phone and being part of the show? Call us at 612-326-6874, 612-326-6874. Come be part of the madness. And welcome back to After Hours AM, everybody. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis, right along with me,
Eric Olsen.
Now,
there is something that we talked about, Eric, off air just here a second ago, and I really want to bring this up. And Nick and, of course, Bill and Elizabeth, you're friends of ours. We have enjoyed over the years speaking with you guys, and we have gotten to know you guys as people, and we also know your integrity. Setting that table, there have been some not-so-nice headlines about the ghosts of Shepherdstown. As in, i.e., not everything is exactly as it's shot, i.e., as in, they're faking evidence. I would really love for you guys to clear that air, take this opportunity with our audience and clear that air, and just talk on that just for a few minutes. Again, like I said, Eric and I both have nothing but respect for all of you. So, just want you to know that as well. So, I would, no further ado, I'd like to get your take on what went down.
Yeah, go ahead, Elizabeth. You can
throw her under the bus.
Yeah, right?
Okay, thanks.
No, because it's all of us. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous.
Right.
Throw
no,
that
it
sensitive
is.
engineer
it
under
is
the
really
bus.
ridiculous. So, no, I mean, I think that it was like within 24 hours of these two articles, from sources I'm not going to name, they immediately started trending like everywhere. And then the issue with these two articles were that it was like the whole thing in general was kind of like this massive smear campaign. And what really got under our skin, not only were the allegations completely false, but also our friend Marianne Davis, who was quoted in these articles, was actually misquoted. And it was complete slander on the people who wrote these articles. It was like something, it was taken completely out of context from the original article that was written, and eventually got to a place where they were flat out saying and quoting her as saying that Shepherdstown was fake and staged.
Yeah.
And those were words that she never said. And when we spoke to her on the phone that week when everything went down, she is the sweetest lady. And she was like, I love you guys. I never said anything like that. And not only that, but I never even spoke to those news outlets before. She said when people come into town, because she manages the visitor center,
Sure.
when people come into town, the first thing I do is, direct them to Dana Mitchell, who's our historian on the show, and tell them that, they can take the ghost or the Shepherdstown Mystery Walk Tour, which she runs. And that's kind of the process that she does. And it was really just sad to see her name thrown around out there saying these things when she didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was incredibly ironic that, the issues that were stated in these articles were pretty much from over a year ago, and this was happening right before we were about to air season 2.
Yeah, in fact, I was talking to another radio host that happens to broadcast here in Minnesota. And I told him, doesn't it seem strange that they'd hit right now? They're so old, this article, these quotes. You don't think that's coincidence that they're dropping it right now? Come on. Think about it for a minute.
It isn't a coincidence. And Elizabeth, worded it perfectly. Once we... See, I really didn't care about... I don't care about, these kind of gossip, outlets that just like to cause attention to get, stats on their pages and stuff, because that's exactly what they're doing. And plus they're causing controversy and whatnot to try to give this uprise, and it's like a smear campaign,
And usually
to try to take down others. So the problem is I could care less of giving attention like that, but what my problem was at the end of the day is when I saw Marianne Davis being targeted and being misquoted, it's basically slander, right? So they're quoting her saying these things like Elizabeth is saying, and what's wrong with that is we know Marianne, and it's really sad to see somebody who works in Shepherdstown, who loves Shepherdstown and loves that we're there, being a part of the community, part of what we're trying to help the other people in town and working with the police. Mm-hmm. When I think it's hilarious, a lot of people think the police aren't real that we're working with. And that's the funniest part is Chief King is a real police officer who's been working there for years, and we're friends with all of them. And, it's just crazy to me. Once I started seeing her, somebody's putting up misquotes on actually a pretty good website that got a lot of steam going and was spraying around. And basically, it's exactly that. Why would you put that up? Like, whatever it was, a Friday or whatever.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was, right before the premiere.
I think it was like a
Shepherdstown
Wednesday.
season
Yeah,
2.
it was like Wednesday.
It was like a Wednesday.
Tuesday. Yeah,
like July
Tuesday or
5th or something.
Yeah, it was.
So,
It was.
So, guys, I think you've. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I mean that's my biggest problem. So I didn't care less until I started seeing Miriam being misquoted and everything. That's where I got really upset. I'm like, this is wrong. Like, we just talked to Miriam. She was really upset about it. She was like, you know what? Those are all trolls. Who cares? Don't even pay attention. But I'm like, you know what? I care.
Yeah.
Because, like, here we are, busting our butts. We're really trying to help the town. We have helped the community big time. And she was raving about us. And she's like, I've never said any of that stuff. This is wrong. I'm like, all right, well, let me talk to the network. Let me talk to Elizabeth and Bill and, you know, our whole team, and I'll write something up and I'll post it. Because give me some quotes. What do you want to tell people? And she said, you can use these quotes. And then I put them in my thing that I posted on my social media feed in response to all that kind of, you know, that smear campaign or whatever you want to call it. So
I think
that's
what
the
it
end of
was.
the story for that.
What it was jealousy on someone's part. And this is what I got out of it. This is what I read out of it, being in the, you know, knowing it and you know, being in the media. Eric and I can both spot desperation and jealousy pretty quickly, you know, in the media. We're like, oh, okay, we know why that was dropped. Obviously, somebody's the dumb kid in the room and decided he wanted to stand up and throw something. All right, here we are. That being said, when something like that is out there, and I in a way, I was like, case in point, paradrama, right there. What everybody rails against, what everybody screams about, it's right there, and they're eating it up. Come on, people. Yep. Come on.
Right.
Be better than that.
And the crazy part, it was trending too. That's what's messed up about this.
Well, you know what?
You know, it was trending at one point. But I mean, at the end of the day, you know what? Like, we do our thing. We're a great team. Everyone gets along. I'm cool with pretty much everybody in the paranormal field. Mm-hmm. Even when Jason Hawes posted that, not even really looking at it, he posted it. I called him right up on the phone. Like, I'm one of those guys that will call you up and say, yo, what's going on? What's happening?
Exactly.
And he totally was cool with me. He apologized and was cool, and he put it in his Facebook. I thought he was super cool about it. He didn't do anything wrong necessarily. He just didn't hear the whole story. He didn't understand what was happening. He just posted it randomly.
Yeah.
So the thing is like, I think sometimes it's like any press, right? You read what you want to read. Unfortunately, social media is ridiculous at times to manipulate a viewer really quickly to believe in what they want to believe. So that's the problem with this whole thing that went down. And I know where it stems from, you know, and it's more of a personal shot, but at the end of the day, I just don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care because, you know what? I'm happy. I'm doing what we're doing. We have a great team, and that's that. Like, whatever.
Well, and that's the big picture, right?
Exactly.
That's the big arc here, and that's what you need to look at. And you know, everyone knows about the contention, you know, or the reported contention and jealousies and some of the pettiness within the paranormal community. But my goodness, that's no different from any other community. You know, you have that within the community of Lutheran ministers.
Sure.
I mean, it doesn't matter what the group is. So I think Nick's right to kind of, you know, take the high road. If there's something that you can address, and if there's someone, you know, specifically who's saying something that is absolutely incorrect and you know it, then sure, address it. But in general, you know, take the high road. Know that in the end that, you know, the truth will out. I mean, I have faith in that too. Myself, I don't worry about some of the petty stuff that a lot of people do because, I mean, life's too short, you know. So, but we really do appreciate you guys addressing it and being as forthright as you are. And we don't want to dwell on it and you know, use any more time really out of what we could be talking about. But it's important, and it demonstrates some of the things that do go on behind the scenes. And, you know, these things go on. But I'm very happy to hear all of your responses. They make absolutely
exactly.
perfect
Just
sense.
one quick thing, Eric. I just want to tell all of our listeners: always check your facts. Always check your facts first.
Yeah, exactly.
Check your facts.
That's
do your
our
due
point.
diligence.
Ask any of us.
You
We're
know.
all open.
Yeah, we're asking us. We're open-minded.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But
none of these people.
exactly.
Well, that's the funny part. Is none of these people even talk to us. Like, it was just random. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
And
You're not a
you
hard
wanna
guy
talk
to
me?
find.
Call me up.
Yeah, Bill, Nick, Elizabeth, you're all not hard people to find. So we'll leave it right there. And
Yeah,
again, thank you guys for your candor and your honesty, and we really appreciate that, and that shines through. Your integrity, it shines right through. And thank you again for speaking on that for a minute. And, of course, you guys have a kick-butt TV show. And, of course, I love it because it's unlike any other programming of its type right now. I mean, it hooks you. It really does, especially the thought of, wait a minute, it's going to other towns now? I mean, that's really a great hook. And it's a great show because it's real. I mean, you guys are actually going to these places and actually investigating and finding these historical stories along the way. It's kind of like a history lesson with some paranormal. And, man, I love that kind of programming.
Well, and it's a travel log of that area.
It really is.
You guys are really kind of intensely covering what's a very interesting and historical area, and there's a lot of beautiful aspects of that area, greater area as well. All right, so now we know you can't give away the store, but we've only seen 2 of the there's 8 right this season. So what can you tell us to look forward to? What are some of the things that we should be thinking about, looking forward to? Give us some hints, tease us, make us feel bad. Well,
it gets crazy. I'll say that we go into caves, which we probably shouldn't go into, number one, because they're dangerous. But you know us. We like a good adventure. So we literally go into caves, and you'll see this come in the upcoming episodes. And I will say that one cave that we went into, Elizabeth and I rappelled down into the bottom of it. And all of us, we had some intense stuff happen. And when we were trying to get out of the cave, when we heard like scratching and all this stuff was happening, we were having voices come through on our devices and whatnot. We were climbing pretty much straight up, and Elizabeth's hair got stuck in the pulley system, and it got really terrifying because after she was able to get out of that and get up, then all of a sudden my harness just doesn't work, and I have to climb hand over hand, and my hands are bleeding trying to get out of it. It got crazy. So that's the type of stuff that's going to happen this season is we're really pushing ourselves physically, mentally, and
Bill,
to the breaking point.
Bill, man, how do you feel about that? I mean, my Lord, I'm right there with you. I mean, because you were squeezing that second episode into places that you should not be squeezing, Bill. I'm just being honest. Into that basement.
No. They tend to like to put the fat guy in the tightest holes.
I know the feeling. I know the feeling. And then they laugh. They go,
They didn't ask me to do the caves. It was like, no, nobody wants to see. They already did Operation Dumbo Drop. We don't need to do a sequel.
I felt bad for you, Bill. I'm
Bill Murray's.
I'm about as agile as that too. I resemble an elephant at times. So when it comes to that.
So do I.
But anyhow, great stuff, and you guys aren't afraid to kind of get down and dirty, so to speak, with crawling around, and you don't see that a lot anymore. It's really refreshing to watch. And tell us about that sheriff. I did call that police department when the show first broke. I'm like, I gotta call and see if this guy's real. He was. He's a real cop. I'm like,
Mike has literally become one of my best friends since season 1 aired, and I was going there every couple weeks and just hanging out with him, and we did some radio shows together and everything else. And he would tell me, he said he would be in the office, and people would come after the show aired, and it's like, is Mike real? Is he here? And he had to come out of his office, kind of wave his hat at people, say, here I am, I'm here, let me sign you something, and then go back to work. And they started telling people, look, if you want my autograph, just let me catch you on the street. I'll find a speeding ticket. I'll sign that.
Yeah, because I called up there. I called that department, and I asked for him, thinking, okay, let's see. Come on. I get how TV works. He's real. And I'm like, are you the same one? Yes, I'm the same guy from the damn TV show. Well, cool. I'm just calling to see if you're real. Yeah, you and everybody else.
Well, he was getting other calls, not just from people that were thinking it was real, but he was actually getting like hits from different police departments in different parts of the country. They were like, "Hey, look, we can come out and help you guys with this problem if you need it." So he was getting that kind of call too.
Wow. Okay,
you mean
then.
the paranormal police from Poughkeepsie were going to come and help out?
The Poughkeepsie
No,
police.
Mike's an awesome guy. All those guys are awesome. I remember when the first time I was talking to him and we were talking about doing this, and they were, calling me up and trying to get me down there and stuff. And I was talking to him, and he goes, you do ride-alongs with me. I go, man, if we're doing ride-alongs, then yeah, I'm in, because I want to chase something down and tackle it.
Yeah.
That's all I've been talking about with Mike. I just want to chase people down. It'd be fun.
Can I use your taser just one time? Can I just use it once?
Oh my God.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
always.
that's actually really. I've seen videos of production when we weren't there getting tased by King. It was like they were willing to do it, but they all just wanted to see what it felt like.
No way. Oh, man.
He's been trying to talk all three of us into doing it.
I know.
Let me tase you.
All at once, we'll hold hands.
Yeah, he wanted us all to hold hands and shoot.
Well-
Shoot one of us in the ass and watch us all jolt. No.
Tell him tell
Or
him
you
if
can
there's...
touch the fence on the Brown farm. We'll just jolt.
The Brown Farm, you guys witness later this season. We go to this farm.
That's a good one.
It's there's a lot of crazy
We went
stuff that
through mud.
happens this season. We go down into several caves. We honestly experience things we've never experienced before in this field. We get to experiment a lot, which is great. I got to build a lot of equipment this time around. Overall, I love this season.
Well, I was going to say the equipment. I mean, you brought out some new toys in the toy box. Why don't you talk about that a little bit? What's new that we should be expecting that you, Elizabeth, you built?
Yeah. A lot of people don't know when I'm not doing all of this stuff. I actually work as an electrical engineer. So this season, I would build prototypes for our various investigations, and I kind of customized them depending on our case and depending on what we were trying to do, which was cool. I started making what I call ghostly gadgets about a year ago.
Yeah, and now, are you selling them to the mass market yet, or are they just things that are on the show, or can we actually get our hands on your work?
You can't get your hands on them yet, but hopefully soon. I just haven't had time to start the process of mass producing them. So for now, they've just been for shows, Ghosts of Shepherdstown, and also season 1 of Paranormal Lockdown. There was one on there as well.
Very cool. I don't think a lot of people know that about you, and we knew that because we talked to her last time.
Can you describe them? We'd love to hear a description of what you're conjuring up with your magical electro-engineering hands.
All kinds of stuff, really. I mean, the first time you see it this season is episode 2. Down in the basement, I set up what I call the comm sphere, and everyone jokes about it because the enclosure itself is actually a hamster ball, but it was the only thing I could find in which it was like easy to open from the side, and I could suspend the electronics in the center. And the ball, essentially what it does is if something moves the ball, taps it, or if the ball experiences free fall, I get sent a notification on my phone, and I could be literally anywhere in the world as long as I have a Wi-Fi connection.
That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah,
From the
so I could go
mind
to sleep
of the
at night.
You
see
know,
in the show, I fall asleep and I'm woken up by the comm sphere going off, and we rush over to Nina's house at night.
that
Very
is
cool.
What she doesn't discuss is what happened to the hamster.
Yes. What happened to that poor furry guy?
I broke my vegan
free.
diet that night.
You broke your vegan
We'll
bowel.
remember him well.
We salute you.
Yeah.
Skippy died. Skippy died. He died a noble cause.
Wasn't it on
Skippy the hamster. He was a
wasn't
little
it Fairly
sidekick in the
Odd
command
Parents?
center.
Didn't they bring back the dead hamster on Fairly Odd Parents, who's kind of a pet cemetery type thing? Let's hope that's not recapitulated.
Oh my god.
Well,
how do you?
Where does the idea? Left in this dark room with candles burning, rubber sheets, and a signed picture of Danny Glover. It's a whole different world.
Wow, that's quite an image.
That really is. That conjures up all sorts of strange imagery. So what really goes on in that beast? Now you can actually tell us after that imagery. Come on.
I don't want to know anything that goes on in that thing when we're not around.
Yeah. It gets
Yeah.
dirty in that beast.
Well, you know what they say, guys. Ignorance is bliss, all right? And I've found that out throughout the years. Ignorance sometimes is bliss.
Holy mackerel, I'm looking at the clock here. We are down to the final 5-6 minutes. We need to know what each of you have going on. Where are you going to be appearing anywhere? Can people see you? And what's the best place? I know you all have a ton of outlets, but where should people be looking for your current activities?
I plan on being stripping at this thing called the Boom Boom Room. And,
with the hamster, right?
I will be bringing back Skippy and the picture of Danny Glover, but we'll leave the rubber sheets for another time. But I will add ice cubes and a pitching wedge. But outside of that, I think the only thing I've got going on right now is that in the end of October, me and my lovely fiance Carissa Fleck will be holding a public event in Laurel, Maryland, where you can investigate with us and actually investigate in the beast, because I'll have that with me. And then we're going to be in Utah in November. But that's really the only thing I've got going on right now outside of work.
That sounds like a lot of fun, Bill. I'm going to have to see about getting over there.
Yeah, you should. The Boom Boom Room's nice, and if you go on Tuesdays, the burgers are half price.
I was always wondering what's under that trench coat, Bill. In that picture.
I showed you. I flashed you a couple times. You just couldn't see it.
I just
all right.
never
Well, we
saw
know
it.
what
Every
Bill.
time you
We know what Bill will and will not be doing in the near future. So, how about Nick Elizabeth?
Basically what I have coming up is if you go to the Nick Groff tour, you can see all of our events that we have. We just finished one in Ohio. We were just in Massachusetts. We just launched. We're going to be at the USS Hornet next year in California, and then I have Crypticon coming up in Kentucky in September 9th. So if you go to crypticon.com, you can check that out. And I am getting ready to, we're working really hard on Paranormal Lockdown too, season 3. So we'll talk more about that in the future, but
heck yeah,
a lot going on.
Wondrous.
And for me, you can go to my site, elizabethsaint.com, and click on upcoming events to see the events that I'm going to for this year and next year. And I update it all the time. You can go to ghostlygadgets.com, too, and see some of my blog posts about various things I've made. And in the near future, I'm just going to be creating really crazy experiments. So that's going to be my life.
Well, that is
fun.
Yeah, that is all very cool. Yeah. So again, check out, of course, Nick Groff Tours. You can go to elizabethsaint.com or check out what Bill's doing. Everyone's got something coming up in the near future, and Shepherdstown though is just ramping up. So you're gonna want to keep watching that, and of course, looking for Paranormal Lockdown when that comes back, season 3 already, and that of course, again, is an awesome show. But Shepherdstown, I gotta say, it's got that cool, awesome small town factor going for it, and plus it's a river. You can never go wrong with a river flowing through a city. Okay, I don't know what it is about bodies of water flowing through a city, but every time I've seen that, because the Mississippi River going through the Twin Cities, it's like, wow, it almost carries paranormal with it. It's really odd. It really is strange that way.
The paranormal ebbs and flows in the eddies and slipstreams of the Potomac. Oh, and don't forget, the show is Monday nights at 9 Central on Destination America.
Yeah, definitely tune in. I want to thank Bill. I want to thank Elizabeth and, of course, our good friend Nick for coming on the show, talking with us, and talking about Shepherdstown and just all around, we enjoy every time you guys come on the show, and we love it, and we're going to continue watching. And on behalf of myself, Joel Sturgis, and, of course, Mr. Eric Olsen, take care of each other, love each other. Until next time, watch out, Shepherdstown. Thank you for listening to this edition of After Hours AM, and please remember to like us on Facebook and also follow us over on Twitter.